right, vanity alert. Vanity alert. Because we don't want to be vain here on Pirates or Us. I'm making this video because I want to give a big shout out. I mean, a big one. This is like the biggest shout out that I've ever given. And I'm giving it to the St. John County Sheriff's Department and how cool these guys are, man. They're best. They're the as far as I'm concerned, anyway. Uh, they're the best sheriff's department in Florida I've ever seen. And I met one today. I met one of them, and we became friends. We sure did, man. We even saw each other twice today. The first time he rolled up on me, and I didn't turn my camera on him. I sure didn't, because when he walked up, I could smell that he was a good man, and he was. And his name is Joe. His name is Joe, and he's a sheriff with the St. John Sheriff Department. Good man, real good man, real good man. And he sat down there with me at the table at the Palencia Park, and we bullshitted for a little. He's like, hey, somebody called. And I'm like, yeah, there's always some Karen out there that, like, so what are you doing? And I told him my story. I did, And he was cool as shit, man. He was, man. He was cool as shit, man. Here, look, I'm gonna sit down on the ground here, man. He was cool as shit, man. He was like, oh, so that's totally cool, He says, what are you gonna do next? And I'm like, well, I'm on my way to where the hurricane came. I'm gonna go there. And he was like, well, is there anything I can do to help you get there? I'm like, no, sir. I got plenty of supplies. I got plenty of food. I got plenty of tobacco. I didn't tell him about the alcohol, but I think he knew. Yeah, but he didn't mess with me. He didn't, man. He was like, and when he walked up to me, I was doing something that I'm going to start doing now a lot. I, I was making a T-shirt, and he was watching what I was doing, making the T-shirt. Uh, I said, boss, you got a phone number? You got a card? You got a phone number? And he gave me his phone number, and I stuck it in my pocket. I said, boss, I'm going to call you in a little bit. And of course, he was telling me, hey, try to leave the park in like, the next 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, all right, boss, no problem. It was an hour before I left, but that's okay. Bless his heart. I went up to the racetrack. There was a racetrack not too far away, and so I went up there, and I had problems there too. Oh my god! But I'm trying to make a long story short, because this shout out is for the St. Johns County. So I finished the T-shirt. I made it. I went up to the get a muffler. I hate that. Anyway, I finished making the T-shirt. I went up to the racetrack, and I called him. I called him back, or I called dispatch. The number he gave me was the dispatch, and that's fine. And I called him. I said, "Hey, man, I want to speak with Joe, Officer Joe." And sure enough, man, he came there. He came there to that racetrack that I was hanging out at, and I gave him the T-shirt. And I told him, I said, I made this for you because you deserve it. when I make these T-shirts, I'm only going to give them to people because they're handmade. I hand make them. The first man to get one was this kid in Palencia who is trying to learn how to play a ukulele. And I gave him, keep going, kid, keep going. And then the second one I made, and I'm marking the shirts too. I'm marking them, so that it shows, it's number one. I gave the number one to some kid that plays the ukulele. The number two, I gave to a police officer named Joe. He deserves it. He does. He was respectful to me, and he understood my story. He's my age, so he understands, how life goes. Totally cool, this guy. So I'm giving a shout out to St. John's Sheriff's Department in Florida. It's St. John, Florida. I'm giving a shout out to them. These men are honorable. They're real police. What they're supposed to do, how they treat the people. They know their job and they know the law, and they're just really good people. I'm not saying come here and get your panties in a wad, because they will beat you with a stick. All right, they will. But as long as you stay here and be respectful and respect the people here, you'll do just fine. Hey, this place is great, man. It's like right in between. I'm like right in the middle of St. Augustine and Jacksonville. It's like right in the middle there. And it's a great place, man. And they got a good beach over there, too. They do. So if y'all ever want to have a good time, you come here. But don't screw up. Don't screw up, because Joe will get you. Joe will get you, man, and he'll beat you with a stick. And I'll get it on video. Him beating you with a stick. And I'll laugh about it the whole way, man. I will, man. And I will praise Joe for beating you with a stick if you come here and fuck up. But if you don't fuck up, and I'll tell you what, you'll have a good time here. You sure will. Just don't fuck up, because you'll have to deal with Joe. And I know Joe. He ain't no joke. He's a good man. I love you guys. And always remember what I say. Love the one you're with.